Hey girls, well, I've done my concealer and now I'm going to put on some foundation. Let's talk about your skin on your face. We've talked a lot about taking care of your skin from the inside, what you eat. We've talked about some oils and some cleansing, right? But just for makeup, just for the topic of foundation, I never wore foundation because I didn't like the way it feels. I get really hot when I have foundation on. I get sweaty. Like y'all will watch every one of my videos. I'm like, oh, I'm so hot. This is me. This is just my way. So I had to be really careful what foundation I tried. And I have a hard time because I have very splotchy skin. I have a hard time finding a color that looks good on me. And when I do, people are like, you look like a China doll, because it's just a weird look on me. It's not the look God gave me to have just perfectly smooth looking colored skin. I'm okay with that, but I would like to smooth it out a little bit. And so I put my concealer on and I got my eyebrows on. I'm really sorry for the sweating but I sweat. If you've ever hung around me, I always have a paper towel. Okay, so these are the things you need. You want to use, your skin is so valuable and you want to take good care of it. And you don't want to be putting on foundation that has chemicals in it. Whatever foundation you're currently using, if it's not the Young Living Savvy Minerals, look at the ingredients. You can go on their website, you can go on L'Oreal's website, you can go on Clinique's website, you can go on their website and it will give you the ingredients. And then you can just look at the ingredient and Google it and find out how harsh that is for your skin. We want to be really gentle with the skin on our face. This is what I love about this makeup. Personally, I don't want such full coverage that it just covers up everything. I really want it to almost look like I'm not wearing makeup, but just that I can have it, smoother look. So this is what I'm going to do. First, I need to moisturize and I need to use some sort of primer, something to kind of fill in all those little wrinkles so that the makeup goes on smoothly and doesn't like clog up and like kind of clump up in my wrinkles. So this is what I do. I use the Art moisturizer and I use the Art serum, and I put tiny bit on because I have already moisturized this morning and last night just in my regular routine. This is more about just getting the makeup on. I'm gonna put what I call half a pump of each. So I don't pump it down all the way. I just do a little, like it's like a dot. And then I'm gonna do the same amount of the serum. Okay, just a dot, if you can see that. Then I mix those together and I put them on my face. Now I've already done my concealer with the Wolfberry eye cream, so that has been moisturized and taken care of. So I just need to go around the rest of my face. And I'm going to give that just a minute or two to kind of dry and soak in. You want to give it time to sink into your skin. What'll happen is the moisturizer will absorb into your skin and the serum will kind of stay on top and act as a primer. And if you just use half a pump, it's really kind of all you need if you're taking care of your skin otherwise, if you're doing other types of moisturizing like we've talked about. So just, this is just a little bit to kind of give me sort of a tacky foundation for my foundation. Okay, once that's dry, I have a fan blowing on me, so it's going pretty quickly. I would give it another few seconds, and then I'm going to talk to you about, you want your concealer, you want your foundation brush. I've tried several foundation brushes. I had one that was flat and it worked fine, but it put on too much foundation, more than I wanted. So, but if you really want a heavier coverage, a flat, your foundation brush is super dense. The bristles in it are super dense, right? It's fluffy, but not, it's not super movable. As opposed to like the Veil brush, which is very like, it's like this, right? Your foundation brush is not like that. Right? It's very dense. So whatever foundation brush you use, if you want it heavier, you're going to use more product, which I don't want to use a ton of product. I want it to last as long as I can get it. I love the Young Living brush. I was convinced I didn't need these brushes because I already had brushes, but I got them and tried them and I am really crushing on this foundation brush. Okay, so you want your brush. We've already moisturized and put the serum on. You want the misting spray, which we're also going to talk about using in the eye, on your eyes. This stuff's divine. And then you want your foundation. I use Warm No. 2. This is just a label I put on it so I can tell Warm No. 2. I have, this is Dark No. 2. This is not my foundation. I use that for something else. but it just helps me pull them out of the drawer so I can tell really quickly because they're tiny words on the back. And speaking of older women, I can't see those letters. Okay, so I've taken some of this and I've tapped some into a little tiny bowl. I love these little tiny bowls. You can buy them in sets of 4 on Amazon for like 10 bucks, so they're super cheap for 4 of them. So split it with a friend. You keep 2, she keeps 2. You're gonna need 2 at least. I use all 4 of mine. And that way I'm not dipping out of my lid. I don't know, it seems messy to me. This, I feel like I have more control. Okay, so here's how we're gonna put our foundation on. Now that our moisturizer and our serum is dried, I'm gonna take the misting spray. I don't know if you have to shake it, but I kind of just always do. And I'm gonna spray it on my brush, just 1 pump. And then I'm gonna tap it on the back of my hand to get like the really wetness off. I just want it to be damp. Then I'm gonna tap it into my foundation. It'll start off looking like a lot, right? But we're gonna tap that off till it's less, right? And then I'm gonna start putting it on. And I just will rub it on, and you'll see I do not put it on super heavy. One of the things about powders, and I go right over my concealer, is you don't want them to settle into your wrinkles. So when you're using something that's a powder, you want to go pretty thin with it. As an older woman, you don't want it to be crazy thick, because then when you smile, it really accents all those lines. So I'm basically just gonna go over my whole face. I typically, if I go quickly, I don't need to spray it again with the misting spray. And here's what else I love about this foundation is I don't get this line of color change. You know, I used to take my foundation whenever I did wear it, and I would, you know, have to take it down into my neck so I wouldn't have the line and try to feather it out. I mean, no foundation is exactly the color of your skin. But with this one, I don't really have to do that because it just doesn't have that line. So this is first coat. This is all I will do. I don't care about full coverage, but you could do it again. And look, I did not use much. I used maybe 1/3 of what I tapped in there. I didn't use a ton of it, but if you wanted to, you could spritz your brush and do the whole thing again and get a little more coverage. It is a translucent foundation. So for me, that means I'm going to just touch it and try to get it, you know, let my body heat kind of set it. For me, that means that some of my redness and some of my discoloration is going to show through, but it is definitely smoothed out. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my diamond dust. I love this stuff, y'all. I will tap a little bit into the lid because I'm not using it wet. And I mean a little. Like, you won't even be able to see how much I have in there. I'm going to take my diamond dust brush. All right, when you first get it on there, I'm just going to exaggerate to show you. You don't want any light, any of these dark places. You want everything to be like this, like very, very light amount. And then you're going to just, I am barely touching my face with this brush. Again, look, you can barely see how much is on there. If you do more than that, it adds kind of a bluish shimmer, and you don't want that. This just will set in your makeup, and it looks so pretty. People say it adds a shimmer. You'd have to put on a lot to add a shimmer. I don't think it really adds a shimmer, but I'm just using the tiny, tiny bit. It's very thin. It is the word veil, it's called the veil, is a good word for it because it's much lighter than your foundation, which is why I also like it for setting in my concealer. Okay, so basically my skin is done. Sometimes because I sweat, I have to kind of re-pat and re-rub, but by the time I'm finished with my makeup in a few minutes, that has all set in and that doesn't happen anymore. I had another friend that said when she put on the foundation, after a few minutes, she would notice like here, it would be kind of blotchy. Yeah, just rub it. Like for me, that happens right here. This is where I sweat, right here. And so I just kind of pat, rub, tap, rub it back in, and it smooths it nice and out. And by the time I leave the house, it doesn't do that anymore. So this is just like right when you're putting it on, and it's all kind of getting into, you know, onto your face. So for now, I have my face done, and we should do a before and after so that you guys can see the difference in just simply my face with this little bit of stuff. It took longer now than it will putting it on. It's just like boom, 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 because I'm showing y'all each thing. This is really quick, and I really want to encourage you to switch to the mineral foundation. It's so nourishing to your skin, and you can trust what you're putting on your delicate, beautiful face.